Hey everyone, Reflected here. I received so many questions about Speed and Angels, my upcoming DCS F-14 campaign with Paco, and I thought I'd make a video to address some of the most frequently asked ones. The first question is whether it will be for the A or the B model of the Tomcat. Well, the B model of course. In the documentary, they flew F-14Ds, but we do not have those in DCS, so we went for the B that has the same GE F-110 engines. No, I will not make a version for the A. The campaign is set in 2004, there were no A's in service by then. Nor will I make one for the Hornet or the P-51 Mustang. If you've seen my DCS campaign FAQ video, you'll know that making an alternate version with even the slightest change literally doubles maintenance workload, so no. What maps are needed for the campaign? So, apart from the Tomcat module, you'll need to buy the NTTR map, the Nevada Test and Training Range, and that's it. It will also use the Caucasus map in some missions, and the second part of the campaign will take place over the Marianas, but these maps are free maps. So the only modules you'll need to buy in order to play this campaign are the Tomcat and the Nevada map. Look out for these during the next sale. I think the Nevada map is one of the most underrated ones in DCS. I used to be very skeptical about it. It's just desert and rocks, right? Well, yeah, but it looks amazing. Performance is silky smooth, and it probably has the best campaigns available. Not only Speed and Angels and Zone 5, but Baltic's Iron Flag and Mirage campaigns, not to mention Bunyap's F-16 Red Flag and Constant Pack campaigns. Definitely worth getting. By the way, before you start worrying about the performance of the Marianas map, you're not going to be flying a Huey over Guam. Your carrier will be stationed hundreds of miles from the island chain, so if you get low FPS, that's not on the map. Is watching the Speed and Angels documentary or reading Lions of the Sky a prerequisite for this campaign? Not necessarily, but if you do, you'll recognize familiar names, call signs, and even voices, so you'll enjoy the campaign even more. You'll feel more connected to the campaign story. Also, if you're a naval aviation enthusiast, these two are a must. You won't regret it. I'm getting a lot of questions about the difficulty of this campaign, whether it's suitable for beginner Tomcat pilots. That's a great question. Yes and no. In real life, they didn't let you anywhere near the jet until you knew the NATOPS inside out, and you passed all kinds of theoretical exams and sim sessions. So the campaign will not show you the basics that a RAG student showing up for their first familiarization flight should already know. Be familiar with all the switches, how to start up the jet, how to take off and land. Remember, by that time you would already have passed basic training too. Teaching the basics would not only be unrealistic for the RAG, but also a waste of Paco's time and efforts, as there are countless YouTube tutorials and training missions already available. This being said, completing the campaign as a beginner will not be particularly hard. Completing it with good grades, though, will challenge you even if you think you're a hotshot virtual Tomcat pilot. In any case, both beginners and experts will learn a lot from this campaign. Some people ask me whether it's a training campaign. I think I just answered that question. No, it's not a training campaign in a DCS sense, where we're used to training missions holding our hands and guiding us through the most basic stuff so we learn how to play with our virtual toys. But in a real-life sense, it is the Tomcat training campaign, as realistic as it gets in a flight simulator. I've learned so much while making this campaign, I had never thought there was so much I didn't know. You'll be blown away. Then the good old area refueling. Yes, there will be aerial refueling day and night, and no, it will not be skippable. Why would you expect to complete a training mission where Paco, a real-life Tomcat pilot, teaches you how to plug without actually plugging? That wouldn't make any sense. Also, it's a vital part of naval aviation, just like landing on the boat. You can't be a surgeon without seeing any blood, or a fireman without having to go inside burning buildings. Accept it. It's time to bite the bullet and do it. Seriously, what better occasion are you waiting for than being taught by a real-life naval aviator who has done this countless times? You can do it. RIO controls. As I mentioned before, in this campaign your RIO will be fully automated. You'll be flying with real-life Tomcat RIOs in the backseat, and they'll take care of handling the radios, communicating, navigating, switching and entering waypoints, calling the ball, and all that stuff. They'll set up the jet for air-to-ground deliveries, manage the lantern pod, handle the radar during intercepts without you ever having to touch the gesture menu. You won't need to control them at all. Just like in real life, pilots didn't control RIOs. It was teamwork. It's pretty cool that Hebler gave us mission makers these tools to make this possible. If you're interested in how it can be done, check out my mission editor tutorial. There are some minor tasks that cannot be automated, and you'll need to use the gesture wheel menu to set up your countermeasures if you want to use a chaff or flare program, set up data link, and to jettison the drop tanks. These are really up to the player's discretion too, so there's no point in automating these. On a side note, no, you can't fly the campaign as a RIO. On one hand, the Iceman AI logic is too basic. No way you could fly such complex missions. On the other hand, then it would be a completely different campaign with different characters and voiceovers. ATC. The campaign comes with fully realistic custom ATC and procedures with separate frequencies for clearance, ground, tower, approach and departure. You'll never have to touch the built-in ATC menu, except for some of the carrier-based missions, but in these, an on-screen message will tell you what to do and when. See, carrier ops are dynamic with so many variables. It was better to use the built-in comms to get all the LSO calls right, as well as fuel states, altitudes, etc. I couldn't have recorded a voiceover for each possible variable. I did add some extra voiceovers to these missions though, because in DCS you don't hear other planes by default, and that wouldn't be realistic. By the way, most carrier-based missions will be MCON, so emission control, completely zip-lip, not a word said over the radio within 50 miles of mother, like in real life. Wingman control. You won't need to touch the built-in Wingman radio menu either. It's because you'll be a nugget, flying wing all the time. You don't give orders, you follow them. You will have some decision points though. Whenever you reach a decision point, you'll need to use the F-10 other radio menu to decide what to reply or how to move forward. Will there be a co-op or multi-crew version? Sure, why not? It's only a matter of changing the player to client and it's done. Not. You know the answer to that if you've been watching my previous videos. On one hand, it has such complex triggers that only work in single player. I couldn't make a multi-crew version even if I wanted to. This is also the reason why I'm not doing anything multiplayer and multi-crew ever for any of my campaigns. But also, in this one, you're flying with experienced instructor RIOs, voiced by actual Tomcat RIOs, who do everything automatically and help you complete your tasks. If your buddy sat in the backseat, are you sure they would know exactly what to do and be able to teach you all the stuff? I doubt it. Will I be able to skip the takeoff or landing or any part that I don't like? Nope, nothing is skippable. While the structure of the campaign would technically allow for it, I didn't make it possible on purpose. Each task will load as a separate mission file in active pause. The cockpit already set up for you, and Paco will explain the exercise with some whiteboard drawings on screen. Then you unpause and do it. At the end, you can choose to restart that particular task and give it another go without having to refly the whole mission, or move on to the next one. Like it or not, this campaign is of such complexity that this was the only way to make it work. I'll make a separate video about this later. Each mission starts cold and dark and ends on the ground or on deck. With all the realistic custom ATC and procedures implemented, even the most boring and repetitive tasks of the flight will be challenging and worth practicing. Being a fighter pilot is not all about switching to guns and blowing shit up. It's also about being able to follow departure procedures, fly form on your lead, or fly perfect overhead patterns. This is supposed to be the most realistic Tomcat campaign to date. That's also training, so I'm sorry, but there's no way I'll let you skip any part of it. Mission playtimes are 1 hour maximum. If you use time acceleration, it can be even less. But the most frequently asked question is, when will it be released? I could use the good old 2 weeks, Joe, but I hate it, so I won't. Let it suffice to say that I've already submitted everything to ED. The ball is in their court, they'll release it when they see fit. Okay, I hope you're looking forward to the release of this campaign as much as I am. Let me know if you have any further questions that I haven't answered here. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for further updates. See ya!